You're listening to Free Zone Radio.
From Free Zone Radio, I'm Jason Crockett, and this is Second Stage. Second Stage is dedicated to the proposition that all plays, all stories, deserve a second shot. And just like the Founding Fathers, we're not giving away our shot. This is a special episode for me. It's debuting on the 4th of July, 2026, America's 250th anniversary. And I don't know that America's Founding Fathers believed we would certainly go the distance and see 250 years. And in times like these, I think we can look around and be somewhat shocked by it ourselves. But I do know that they were committed to the fundamental truth that we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights. Rights that should never, could never be taken away from us. Rights that apply to everyone in the United States, regardless of age or color or gender or religious belief or financial status, and that among these rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. They don't provide a legal protection for happiness per se. Not even the good Lord promises happiness in this lifetime. But they guarantee that you have the right to chase it. And chasing that dream is exactly what brought our forefathers to this sacred land. Our indigenous Native American ancestors and our colonial ancestors, our forefathers and their forefathers, across boundaries and borders, legal or illegal, all for the chance at the fulfillment of a dream, a hope, a promise. Our revolutionary forefathers were inspired by the writing of John Locke and Thomas Paine, by the brilliant minds of Ben Franklin and Thomas Jefferson. They were intellects touched by genius. They were men writing like they were running out of time. And today, our stages and our classrooms need to be reminded of these oh-so-lyrical and self-evident truths again. Now, typically, this show releases an episode per month, but for the month of July, in an inspired fit of patriotic duty, Second Stage is running through a series of plays that examine the proposition of the American dream, our pursuit of happiness, and the quest for justice for all. For the 4th of July, we're taking it back to the Founding Fathers, and the women and families who motivated them, and the gleeful tyrant they rebelled against. This week, we're reconsidering the educational and literary merits of teaching Lin-Manuel Miranda's insanely successful musical, Hamilton. Why? So are you just a people pleaser? Is that what this is? Over coffee and everything?
Heavily.
Yeah, but didn't our forefathers threaten to throw so much tea into Boston Harbor, so much tea over the inconvenience of taxation without representation?
Didn't we shoot people for this?
Didn't we tar and feather people for doing this? Well, doesn't that kind of bring us back to today, that here we are talking about the American Revolution? How about that? All right. Well, welcome to this show. So we're talking about the American classic, Hamilton, right? Mm-hmm. So welcome to the show. Everybody, hey, Radio America. This is my senior, Emily Kuhns. Say hi.
Hi.
Say hi. She has been on other famous shows in our Brands series. She's been on episodes of With Honors before. You've probably heard her. She is a senior getting ready to graduate, and she wanted to talk about a play that a lot of people know, but maybe doesn't really appear in classrooms. Maybe not as often as it should. So what do we want to talk about this week?
So you asked me if you wanted to cover the show Hamilton or the movie Hamilton, the play. And I was like, of course. So I wrote bullet points because you gave me questions and then I answered them to the best.
He's feeding you a script.
Yeah. He fed me a script and I answered.
All of this is off the top of our heads. We do not do any of that scripted curriculum around here.
The first question, one of the first questions was, why would I like to see this play in class? I basically wrote about, like, it would bring a lot of memories from, like, middle school, because in middle school, that was, like, when it had first, like, gotten released, because I was in, like, 6th grade, so it's, like, all my friends were like, oh, my God, Hamilton, I'm obsessed. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of a hater.
You were a hater of Hamilton at first.
I was, yeah. And then one of my friends were like, you really need to watch it, so I watched it, and I saw how much, like, effort they put into it, and how, like, it wasn't, like, it was categorized for modern times. So it was very captivating rather than, like, I don't know, speaking old language where you can't really pick up on it. But it was written in a modern way. That way people can still, like, connect with it, I guess, if that makes sense.
Lin-Manuel Miranda is the writer and creator and pretty much so much of everything in getting Hamilton to be what it is. He's been a famous songwriter for music and musicals and Hollywood pieces. He's been an actor. Lin-Manuel Miranda does a whole lot of everything. And so Hamilton comes along and he really does phrase it, like he characterizes it with modern language. And sometimes it's rap, sometimes it's hip hop, sometimes it's, I don't know how else you would characterize some of the music.
It's kind of a mix of everything, which,
It is.
you know, a lot of people connect with.
Well, but why isn't that so good? That's so good for America to be a mix of everything, because why?
It's like a melting pot. That's what everybody's called it since the beginning of time. It's a melting pot. There's a whole bunch of, like, races and everything, so it just kind of, you know what I mean? Which is what a thing I wrote in here is I liked how they blended everybody together. Like, there was a mix of everything. It was just an all-white cast, which...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, no offense, but that's kind of boring. But if you bring, like, all these different people in it, I think it, like, makes it...
I agree. Do you know there are so many people who get triggered about that phrase melting pot nowadays? I mean,
Sorry.
No. It's the phrase that I heard as a kid, as an elementary school student. It was always the phrase that I heard about America, that we characterize ourselves as a melting pot because we are a blend. We are a melange of all different flavors, ethnicities, backgrounds, identities, and that we all mix together. I remember my teachers telling us that, and it always seemed like, yeah, that's what we should
We're just
be.
all mixed together. I feel like America isn't just one specific thing. I feel like so many people are like, it's one specific race, and I'm like, it's a mix of everybody. It's always been a mix of everybody.
We do have such a patchwork heritage to us that there are so many different distinct flavors that bring us to who we are. But nowadays, people get triggered about that.
I know. I'm like, it's always never been one certain race. There's Native Americans, there was Asian, you know what I mean? So many races came here. It's not just one specific race. And I think people
I even had a teacher in this building, I won't say which hallway, but in this building, who even said that to me this school year of, well, we're not a melting pot. As in, like, that's not what we should be calling ourselves nowadays. The point of contention is that in a melting pot, all the distinct items lose their signature flavors and become one hybrid flavor.
Literally. I mean, you know what I mean? There's so much, you know, if it's Spain, you're Spaniard. If you're in France, you know what I mean? But America, it's like I said, it's always been, you'll have people from England come over here. You'll have people from Mexico or...
Sure.
You know what I mean?
But then that's their point, is that they lose all those distinct things, that whatever made you English, you lose that because now you're a blend of everybody else.
I think everybody's unique in their own way, but the country itself is a melting pot.
I don't feel like my identity is somehow dimmed by being a fellow American.
Like, everybody's unique in their own way.
What kind of music do you like?
Oh, I love it. Mostly indie. I like a lot of independent artists, I would say, but I mostly like indie rock. I like a little bit of everything.
Okay.
I can listen to some Beethoven. I can listen to Pierce the Veil. I can listen to Lord Huron. I can listen to Noah Kahan or Conan Gray. You know,
What a melting pot. What a melting pot.
If you look at my Spotify, it's so diverse.
Hey, if you look at my Spotify, it's so eclectic. I love 1980s pop. I also like a dash of rap. I also like soundtracks. I also like a lot of different things. Yeah.
I think I have the entire songs from The Greatest Showman. So that's
Another musical, The Greatest Showman.
Such a good movie. I think it's so underhyped. I'm so sad they took it off of Disney Plus.
The people who complain about the aspect of the melting pot instead say, and this teacher said, well, we're not a melting pot. We are a salad, that we are like a salad of different components where each element is part and parcel of the whole and yet retains its own identity.
I feel like it can also be that way in soup.
Dude, I'm just saying, how shallow do you have to be?
I know.
I'm going to lose my tomato flavor if... No,
like if you're eating, say, potato or broccoli cheese soup, whatever, you can taste the bacon, you can taste the potatoes.
Yeah. And if it's missing it, then the whole thing winds up missing something.
Weird.
It tastes weird. Yeah. Man, either way. I think that is also one of the things that makes America great, right? Is that we have such a hybridity to us of all these different things that make us who we are.
So much diversity.
So shouldn't we characterize a show, a modern show of Hamilton with that way?
Yeah.
But detractors that I have heard also say, but none of these people are white except that one or that one. None of these people
matter?
I agree.
Why does it matter?
But, buddy, I still, like if we were showing Romeo and Juliet as performed by the National Theater or whatever, there's going to be a guy playing Mercutio played by a black man. And I will always have students in class who see that as a hurdle. And they're like, wait a minute, Mercutio's not black. Who cares, dude?
It doesn't even matter. It's a play made in the whatever century.
Right? Hey, Mike, buckle in. That's not even the real Mercutio.
Joke's on you. That man has been dead. I don't think it matters that much.
Guess what? This is not even really Shakespeare's play. This was performed by a guy named, why does that still have to be such a hurdle? Because race is still a hurdle. It is still an issue in America.
It's ridiculous to me.
I became a teacher here in 2007, and I was telling somebody this the other day that I thought race was not such a big deal for our incoming students in 2007. Golly, this was almost 20 years ago. And
it's still a problem.
Right. But I remember thinking then, look, there's such a diverse population of students that go here. You have black students, you have white students, like you have a mix of people. And sure, we are in Tennessee and there probably is a higher density of white students. I get it. But from the high school I had just left, no, it was nothing but white students. So this was much more of a diversity for me to come here. In the irony of a place called White County, to have a far more diverse student body. And I just remember seeing folks get along with each other. And there was never really any problem among the students that sat with each other. I never heard any sort of antagonism or anything. And I remember telling them, I don't know that race is such a problem for your generation as it was for Boy, what a naive moron I was.
It's insane to me because I feel like it was, it's bad. And then it got better. And then for some reason lately, I feel like it's gotten so much more worse.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just couldn't imagine being someone who judges someone purely based off the color of their skin.
Yeah.
Like that, I've never been able to, I just generally don't understand. Well,
humans are humans. And we all find different things that we like or dislike about each other. I mean, look at Kevin over there. Look at Kevin.
He looks so awkward.
Things we like about Kevin, but also things we don't like about him. No, I'm kidding. We like Kevin. There's nothing we don't like about Kevin. We like Kevin. He's a good guy.
He looks so scared.
But that is the truth of human beings, is that we find things that we like and don't like. And if we're unsure or afraid of something, we fear the unknown. We fear things that are other from us. So I see where those problems originally stem from, but it is 2026.
I know.
And there have been past crimes that have never been accounted for, that continue to be antagonized by people who are influencers or in leadership positions today. And I mean, man, you have to account for things, and you have to make an effort to account for things and accept one another. I know that it is common for people to have problems. Like, I'm sure you're a wonderful person. I'm sure you're prejudiced about something, whether it's age Or, oh, I know who he voted for. I don't like people like that. Or, ooh, she shops at Dunkin' Donut. Ew, gross. Who would get their coffee from Dunkin'?
Yeah,
like there's going to be something, because people are people are people. But I think that there are bigger problems for us to be.
What I was about to say. There's bigger problems to worry about than that.
Right.
Why are we focusing on this rather than someone who actually needs the time and effort to be locked away or get their sort of punishment?
Yes.
I feel like we're just worried about something.
So it really doesn't bother me that Alexander Hamilton is played by a person of whatever ethnicity in a cast of characters who are diverse, who are singing American history in rap.
like I feel like
I really have zero problem.
Like I feel like that's the least of our issues.
Yeah. Also, it's a fun show, too.
It is.
Right?
It's really entertaining. The only one thing, which it is historically accurate, the one thing I didn't like Hamilton for was how much he was cheating and having an affair.
I was going to say, first of all, you had said that you were originally a hater of it.
I was
Why?
originally a hater because I was probably being a pick-me to boot for.
Okay.
But I was like, oh, this is so stupid, whatever. And one of my friends had like talked me into it, and I watched it, and I saw how much effort there was, and I saw how fun it was and just how modern it was, and I think that I was like, oh wait, I actually like that. And it got to the point where it kind of had died down until that one song when he's about to sneak out and write the song. It's like Hamilton, that I started singing that. Oh my god, Cynthia got so mad at me. I would not stop because it kept popping up on my For You page, and I just kept singing it. She's like,
heck yeah. And there's plenty of the music that's so catchy.
I know that one. And I forgot what it is. It's Why Do You Write Like You're Running Out of Time?
Yeah.
Like that one's so upbeat, and it's so I don't know. That one it's got a catchy tune to it.
Yeah. So you have a whole slew of topics and stuff to write about here. I want to make sure that we get to that. Things that you wanted to talk about. What would be your next point?
What do I do and do not like about Hamilton? That I kind of said, like, he's not loyal to her, but I liked how it was modernized. I liked how it was energetic. It was easy for people to enjoy. So I pretty much basically just kind of said that, but I didn't like how he was cheating on her. But that's just history in general. I didn't really have anything like other than that I didn't like. But like I said, I like the modernist of it.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to worry about like, oh, what does that mean? Or what does that mean? It's like, oh, you catch up to it. Plus the whole pop and stuff made it like entertaining. So
what do you think about the general audience of, let's just say, students that go to this school first? Do you think a play like that, the lyrics of it, the songs, the mood, the history behind it, is that very gettable by audiences in this high school building?
I think it depends on what audience you're portraying it to. If you're portraying it to theater kids and people who watch it when they were younger and relive the experience, I think it's great. However, for like students who think theater is stupid and that kind of thing, I don't think they would like it.
Okay.
Unless someone was like a history.
Well, that's what I was going to say. What if we had used this in something like a junior English class?
That's what I think honestly it would be great for English class, because I think a lot of people, like especially Gen Z, really liked Hamilton. And I think in a way you can teach, because it can really fit into theater, history, or English. Like in English you're supposed to cover plays and you can cover that one. And it has kind of a thing of, don't put yourself all in one thing. Don't risk it all for something little. I feel like there's a lot of mottos behind it that you can use for an English class, because I feel like that's pretty normal. And then history, it's history. And then theater, there's a play about it. You can transfer it into your your own little class and make your own little tweaks to it and stuff.
So something we had tried a few years ago was like tag team teaching our junior English with history class, because it was American history, American literature, and you can do research topics, you can do nonfiction things, you could do fiction, whatever. But spend a window of time where those two disciplines are tag team cross-curricular teaching, the same thing. So if I'm teaching, let's say, the Great Depression in my class, as far as history, you in your ELA class could be teaching of mice and men. And so you can talk about migrant workers and the economic collapse. I can talk about migrant workers and the economic collapse. You can talk about John Steinbeck. I'll talk about, like we could, tag team teach to reinforce what you're doing here also matters over there. So you could use Hamilton even if your American history class doesn't stress the Revolution. It could be something that you do at the beginning of the semester.
It's just a fun little lesson that you can do.
I mean, the first week of school, so often, I think a lot of times the first week of school, you're still getting to know your students. So wouldn't it be a cool idea to use something like Hamilton to teach some of those intro to the class kind of things, as well as be fun with it, as well as let's look at characters from American history, founding fathers, Revolution. What do you really know about so-and-so? I just did a lesson today with Hamlet about can you really know the truth of things by watching the truth of things, like putting on the play within a play. Is that really like proof that Claudius is guilty just by watching him go, ugh? Like, is that true? Well, what about watching a modernist rendition of Hamilton? Does that really get at the accuracy of the character? Let's do some research topics about it. Let's find out, what do we really know about the real Hamilton? Let's talk about the real King George. Let's talk about the real whatever. And even if it's just your first week, and then every kid could do their own mini project.
It helps break the ice.
It's an icebreaker. It's fun. It sets the tone for the year. You could do something like that in junior English. I was just wondering about our building first, and then I wanted to step out and think, okay, well, what about, American audiences, and then maybe even globally? I think that there's going to be certain challenges, though. What might make audiences kind of dig their heels in at first?
I feel like specifically a lot of, not in a mean way, but a lot of like country guys don't really like the flashiness and the showiness.
Dude, I think that's
Like,
going to be a
that's-
stereotypical male kind of reaction.
They're like, that's stupid, and
I don't
they're
love
singing.
theater.
Yeah, I don't like theater. I don't like musicals, or
Right.
there's that kind of
Right.
thought about behind it. So
But we like movies. Except you're going to have kids in the audience who are like, I don't watch movies. Okay, well,
you're a bum.
we're at least going to have some fun with this one time. You'll have people who hate the stereotype of theater or embody a stereotype that hates theater. What else? We talked about the race issue might be a problem for some people who for some reason can't get over the hurdle that Mercutio is played by or that Hamilton is played by. What else?
I'm trying to think. I guess maybe, I don't know. People might be like, it's stupid for like an old time, I don't know. I'm trying to think. It's not like modern, but it's also not old, I guess. I'm trying to think of a better way to describe it. It's like, oh, it's in the past or whatever.
Right.
So it's like, what's the point of really learning it?
Right. This is all history. They're all dead. What does it matter? But boy, we're living in a society right now that very
History's
much needs to
repeating
know.
itself.
We very much need to know that we've been here before. We're doing it again. Looky where we're coming from, because it's happening all over again. I think that there are some challenges. Probably also as a teacher, you have to think about the reading level of your students. And reading is more than just reading the words on a page in a book in front of you. Reading is also the context of watching and understanding what's going on in this show. If I don't have the historical background, that's going to be something. If, I don't know, if I don't really know theater, if I don't get that this is a modern take on, you would probably have people who are just kind of like tuning out from that. But as long as your teacher sets the stage for you, sets some expectations, kind of builds you up with a little bit of front loading, you could do that. It's also probably a lot to ask somebody, hey, we're going to watch 85 minutes of something all at one go. So maybe we don't watch the whole play all at one go.
I think it's good to break it up, or the more key parts of it.
Yeah.
If it's all like pushed in and rushed, then it's like a little stressful. What if it's like break it down as you go, which is kind of what we did with like Macbeth. Like we'd watch a little bit here, we'd do a little bit of the paperwork, and
I think you could definitely take clips of it first, or maybe you can just focus on individual songs at first and then talk about your characters and then start like, okay, well, we've done this and this. By Wednesday, we start looking at piecing it together. Here's the first half of it. How does it help tell a story? And then by Thursday or whatever, help telling your story. And then we get to the very end, and isn't that one of the capstone pieces to the play is your story, telling your story and what your story is. So cool. What about individual songs? What would be one or two songs from it that you would say, I think we should focus on this?
I'd say one off the top of my head would be, like I said, the one where he's like, they're talking about how he's running out of time. So it's stressing how he was really dedicated to writing, how he really wanted to write these like Federalist Papers, I think. Mm-hmm. And so he was like, they were really stressed about that. He was just constantly writing and writing and writing. And he got with the guy and he was like, I need you to help me. And you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, even if I were just taking that one, I would want to use it to teach a lesson about characterization. Mm-hmm. We get to, like we've said, fall back into the historical perspective of what do we know about Hamilton? Why are we doing a song about feeling like he's running out of time? Why would a person be so, I got to write, I got to write, I got to write, I got to work, I got to work, I got to speak, I got to speak? Why does he feel like he's running out of time? He obviously doesn't know what day he dies. Nobody knows. But what does that teach us about the person? You get to do a characterization. You get to do the historical lens of it. We could take his song lyrics as poetry and go through and find
kind of break it down.
Absolutely. We always look at word choices, images, details. Those are the big three that I always make kids look for. Word choice, imagery, details. If you look at word choices in this line right here, why say a word like that? Because he repeats it 7 times. It's got to be important.
What do you write? Yeah.
Why frame it? Hey, that's a great way of looking at it too. Why have the song lyrics characterize it in the form of questions? Who's asking the questions? Why repeat these questions? What do the questions suggest about our character, our historical person? What do they suggest about us trying to get to the truth of something? You have like all this window for doing that one thing on that one song.
I think, like in the song, it's they're talking about how he's running out of time, and it even cuts to, I don't know, word breakdowns. What I'm gonna say, like it's the I don't know what it is, but it's kind of the bridge where it's like John Jay wrote 6 or 25, and then it was like they were supposed to write, I think if I'm remembering correctly, it was like he was supposed to write 50 and they ended up making like 85. And he wrote 50 of them, and they only wrote, like one of them wrote 9, the other one wrote like 26, and they were like, he wrote the other 50.
Yeah. And
it was like, it kind of breaks him down as a character of like, oh, he's putting everything he can into writing this and producing it, and he's just constantly writing. He's just focusing his entire life on it. And I think in a way, that's kind of what caused him to die, because that constant fight, I forgot the guy's name, but they were constantly like butting heads.
Yeah.
And I think that's what caused his death.
I agree. For my choice, I know my readers, my listeners would be absolutely 0% surprised that I would pick this one, but I would absolutely go to one of the fan favorite characters of the play, King George.
He's so funny.
He is so funny every time. He gets a huge reaction from the audience. He gets applause. And specifically, I think the performance by Jonathan Groff, right? I think is the one. There have been so many people that have, swapped in and out of these. They're all fantastic actors. Jonathan Groff doing a great job as King George III, right? With his song, You'll Be Back. I remember the first time I was asked to sit and watch Hamilton, that when we got to this part, my family members were like, oh, you're going to like this one. He's so funny. You're going to like, and I was like, okay, sure.
Whatever.
And then it was a message from the king, and there was such a fanfare to it for him to walk in, and everybody had been applauding, but also kind of, hush your breath, the king's in the room. His song lyrics are great at characterizing this true historical take on a person from the perspective of, well, what if he's not just king? What if he's not just tyrant? What if we write it he kind of sounds like an abusive boyfriend. He
And
kind of
that's how they portrayed it.
He sounds like an abusive boyfriend who doesn't want to let his person go. It's okay. You'll be back. You'll see, right? And there's such a threat to it. And to say that you love somebody, how can you love somebody when you're holding them down? How can you love somebody so much you hurt them? I think Jonathan Groff does a great job
I think he was great as comedic relief because it kind of lightened up the seriousness, Hamilton is serious and it's not at the same time.
Yeah.
But I think because he would be like, I think he appeared maybe 3 to 4 times. So it was like a nice, like little comedic break. And I think he portrayed it really well.
Did you notice that in that performance, he didn't blink very much?
No,
He intentionally would not blink because what a psychopathic thing to do, to be
I didn't even
staring
think
at
about
somebody.
that, but yeah.
You'll be back. You'll see. You belong to me. Like, to be doing that is so intimidating, slightly psychotic. I mean, obviously psychotic.
Yeah.
But he was known as Mad King George, right? So here we have another window into looking at the funny characterization, the funny satire of a character, as well as the historical connections. Why would we call him Mad King George? What about the Porphyria? What about all of these other things? What about how some of these lines are drawn from real historical contexts? That some of these lines are drawn from the real historical people who said them? What? You get to have so much more parallel and understanding of the American experience. I mean, man, we Americans love rebellion. We love rebellion.
We've had so many rebellions. I'm sure there's going to be more that happens within our lifetime. I'm not going to lie to you.
No, I agree. I mean, and I really doubt that any of my audience, my few audience members, I'm sure who listen out there, disagree with this, but I don't care if it was in 1776. I don't care if it was in 1860. I don't care if it was on January 6th of 2020. I don't care when. Americans have been rebels over and over and over. They want to buck the law. They want to buck the resistance to everything. They find plenty to argue about and say, well, I ain't going to be told to shut up. Whatever. Just or unjust. Americans rebel.
People are people are people.
And what did I tell you at the beginning of the semester, your senior class? How can we know anything about ourselves if we don't know the people that we came from, right? That's why in British Lit, we study British Lit. How can Americans know who we are if we don't look at the society that gave us who we are, our colonies? Well, how can we look at ourselves and say, I love my forefathers, unless you know what were your forefathers really like? What were they writing like? What was King George really like? And if you kind of understand, oh, he's like an abusive ex-boyfriend who doesn't want to let you go. Boy, doesn't that kind of reinforce your understanding of what that rebellion was like? And how would we go on to characterize leaders from the 1980s, leaders from the 2020s, leaders from the 1920s? Like, how would you go on to characterize that? There's so many teachable aspects to this.
Man, there's a lot. That's why I liked when they modernized it, because it's easier to break down if it's splayed out in front of you. If you relate it to similar times of current times, then you're more likely to understand it. You're more likely to grasp the concept of how serious it was and what it meant to them, rather than just kind of throw you back in time and, this is what it was like at the time. Because I feel, we were in the middle of a revolution. We're not in the middle of a revolution. We're not in the time where we were throwing tea into the ocean and, shooting people out of nowhere.
Well, let me say this too. This is, again, my audience is not going to be shaken by this. I think that a lot of times, especially now, we feel like we're living in some pretty dark times. And things can get really difficult in America in 2026, in 2025, in 2024. You have a lot of people who are like, man, this is getting worse, this is getting worse, this is getting worse. And I am not here to say that that's wrong. I am not here. I frequently have to disconnect myself from the news and from social media because I start to spiral. I literally told one of my former professors in a previous episode, I can only get so mad each day because I start to spiral.
It got to the point where it'd be I would get news on my TikTok, and I would have to scroll, because that's why my mom, she criticized me. Why aren't you looking at the news? You need to be keeping up with the times. And I'm like, if I look at the news, like, I will spiral, I'll get angry, and it'll control me, because it's all I'm thinking about. And I don't want to live my life in anger, which there is a lot of things to be angry about, but I don't want anger to consume me.
I don't want to feel despair.
I don't want to feel like this.
So my counter to that is that it's really difficult to remind myself of this, but we Americans have been through some really dark times before.
Horrible.
And you yourself bring up, it's not like we're in the middle of a civil war right now.
We are and we aren't. It's just not heard of.
Historians in 100 years, I don't know what they're going to say about 2026.
They're going to have a couple things to say.
Maybe they will have said, well, it happened here. But for us right now, you're right. We're not in open hostilities with state versus state. We're not doing that.
It's not
That's true.
as bad as, say the 1800s, but I think it's more not unheard of, but also kind of... I don't know how to explain it. It's not where we're pulling guns on each other, or it's not as common as that. I'm sure that still happens, but we're not in an active war, but we also are.
Well, in the 1970s, we were upset as a country about Vietnam. Mm-hmm. And we were demonstrating. College campuses were demonstrating. Troops were being sent into places to say, hey, quit demonstrating, hey, doing this. Mm-hmm. And there was so much anti-war sentiment against Vietnam and unjust political leadership. We were in some really dark times. America lost a lot of value in itself because of an illegal war, an unjust war in Vietnam. Before that, you had the Civil War, and you had Reconstruction, you had Jim Crow laws in the South, you had a deepening divide between white here, mm-hmm. black there, and before that, it was our Revolutionary War. Before that, it was this. I say all of that. On a long enough timeline, we have been through some really dark situations before. And as bad as this does feel for us right now, we're not literally tarring and feathering anybody for having voted a certain way. We're not literally brother against brother in open hostilities because of how somebody, not yet we're not. So we can look at something like this and remind ourselves, hey, we have had it pretty bad before.
And we've recovered and we'll recover again.
Yes.
That is another thing, is that we've always kind of had the chance to rise up from it, in which I hope we do. And I hope no matter what, we'll always choose, in my opinion, the right option.
Yeah.
I feel like so many times it's not the right option.
I was literally just complaining to a teacher the other day that I struggle to teach comedy in the classroom, because you can be funny, but teaching comedy as a genre is difficult.
You can't force it.
You can't force the laughter. And she said, well, also the environment is not conducive because school is not fun. And I was like, right? Yeah, like this is where joy goes to die. But true talk, you could look at Hamilton and you could watch King George III come out to thunderous applause, everybody cheering and laughing and loving this characterization. But if you and I jumped into a time machine and went back to 1777,
horrible.
They would have, 1789, they would have still been like, King George, blah, blah, blah. If you and I had walked into a pub in Boston in 1776, and I said, God save King George.
Oh, you would have
We would Can you imagine?
Oh, you would have been thrown over the boats.
But here, 250 years later, because this is America's 250th. This is America's 250th. Here, 250 years later, we look at this tyrant character that we hated and reviled, and now he's like one of the fan favorite characters of a wonderful play. So 100 years from now, 50 years from now, think about the villains in your society who are going to be characterized in such a way that we're like, hey, that's my fan favorite of the movie or whatever. I kind of like that guy. No, we're not supposed to.
Trust me when you were back in time.
But back then, we did not like that. we did not like that one. So it gives us some empathy, some perspective. It gives us some historical background. You get to do a lot of ELA stuff with it. There are some challenges with a text like this. but there's a lot of upside with it too. And you can, take a class that so often is like, that's boring to sit and memorize dates or whatever. I cannot imagine there are many history classes that are still like that are just, let's go over dates and timelines. And you just, we have a lot of teachers who make learning fun and make it engaging.
That's my personal, my thing is, if it's just like, oh, here's this, and here's the, I want you to put energy. I want you to put your entire soul into it and just make it fun. If you make it fun, I'll be more likely to really vibe with it and learn it rather than, oh yeah, here's what happened March 15th, 1972, if you're teaching it like that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Do you have any more big questions for me? Because I have a big question for you.
I have no idea. You go ahead and ask the questions.
Because mine's kind of like a big capstone question.
Oh, I don't think.
There was nothing else you wanted to talk. Oh, it's Cynthia. Don't make any sudden movements.
She just side-eyed us. I feel like I've probably talked about a lot of this. So what is your big
You're sure you don't want to bring? You had a ton of stuff written down.
I did, but I talk a lot, so I probably already said most of it.
Okay, so one of my last questions for you is, true talk, we're using this in the classroom as an option. Is there literary merit to a play like Hamilton? Or, it's fun, it's song lyrics, but is it really going to be full of merit? I don't want to be that teacher that says, well, it teaches kids history, but did it if it's just giving me a comedic representation? I don't want to be the guy that says, well, it teaches kids to read and write. Did it really if it's whatever? Is there literary merit and historical merit to this? Yes or no?
That is a loaded question. I'm trying to think. I want to say yes and no.
Okay. Why would you say yes?
I would say yes because a lot of the dates are accurate. It tells you about Hamilton's affair. How he was having somewhat romantic relations with his wife's sister, and how he, when he was doing his anti-federal or the papers or whatever, he, I forgot what her name is, but the woman in the red dress, and she came, and how her husband had bribed him to, if you give me money, I'll hush, and how other people, his friends, bribed him and told everybody, and
so historical accuracy.
There is a lot of historical accuracy. However, the reason why I would say no is because it kind of downplays maybe the seriousness of it. It is serious, but if it's King George, he was a tyrant, he was a horrible person, but it's you'll wish you'll come back to me, and it kind of puts light on it when in that time it was a really dark time.
But my question is, does it have literary merit? Do you feel like this, pretend you're a parent.
Okay.
And you have a student who's a senior in high school, and you just found out, Mama, they're teaching us Hamilton. We're doing Hamilton. Do you feel like, is that good enough? Or are you like, no, y'all need to be reading Shakespeare. You need to be reading books. You need to be reading. What do you feel like? Does your gut tell you it's meritable?
It's the same thing roughly as the same level Macbeth was on.
Okay.
Or Beowulf,
I do.
You're still learning. You're still getting the basic concept of it, but it's making it fun. It's not making it draining. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not here's boring data. It's oh yeah, they're making songs, and this is what happened, and
Well, in the 1600s, that's what Shakespeare was doing. How is this any different that Shakespeare was doing this in the 1600s and the 1590s? Lin-Manuel Miranda is doing it in the 2000s. How is this really functionally any different? Exactly. Some people will say, well, Shakespeare's words are far more literary. Shakespeare, far be it from me to argue against the literary merit of Shakespeare. Of course he has merit. But Shakespeare in the 1600s was writing plays that were supposed to be popular fiction. Shakespeare was not setting out to write something to stand the test of time for 400 years, but it does go on to inform so much of Western civilization that we are rooted in the foundation of Shakespeare's voice. We don't know the classics as they exist now until they've had time to solidify over a while. So in his day and time, they were teaching the Romans and the Greeks. In our day and time, we're teaching Shakespeare. In 200 years, could we be looking back on something like Hamilton or other Broadway shows and be saying, this is what American art looked like? This is historical literature from the time period. Maybe our contribution to future literature exists in a different mode. Maybe it's Hollywood movies. That cinema becomes our mode. I don't know. I would have said that I do agree. It has literary merit. I think that there's plenty to write about. I think that there's depth of character. I think that there's depth of language. I think there's theatrical nuance. I think that there's just a lot of things that you can do. Historical tangents, there's a lot that you can do with this play. Would you be mad if you found out I was using this in your daughter's classroom?
Absolutely not.
You would never?
Like, when I was rewatching it, I was kind of looking for maybe if there was anything like school bad. And it's like, there's not really any guns, I would say. It's like implied violence.
Right.
But I think if you can put two and two
It's
together.
also the Revolutionary War.
Yeah. So, I mean, to be fair.
We're teaching that.
I mean, there's nothing in there that I'm thinking like, there may be like a word or two, but I'm like, I'm sure you're hearing those words on the street, so I wouldn't really be like, you're teaching.
I don't think it has any language that's especially strong and dangerous for us. I don't think
nothing more than what you hear in the hallways.
But even then, Caesar must be above reproach. I have to do better than what I hear in the hallways.
No.
But I don't think that there's anything contentious. Not really.
Not really. It's like a
Hamilton.
word or two, and I'm like, that's
also something that depends regionally, because there are some classrooms that I have seen students talk to their teachers, and it's like, ugh, I'm surprised your teacher's letting you. But that it does tend to be a regional, colloquial way of talking. I don't know, it's just different. I mean, we get it. This is America's 250th. We are all different regions. We are all different patchworks in this country. And here we are, Tennesseans. And you'll get these New Yorkers who come down here and talk a certain way. You'll get these Indianans who come down here and talk a certain way. Californians who come in. And some, I've noticed that some from like Michigan, oh boy, every other word's a cusser. Every other word's a cusser.
I feel like,
and they don't even hear it.
I feel like, honestly, no matter where you go, it's depending. I think it more depends on the person rather than where you come from. You'll hear a cuss word every. No, it really does depend on who you're raised with. My Baba, he said some foul words a lot. Every other word, I'm like, oh.
Right. But I mean, that also goes into who we are as Americans, right? That we are one big melting pot. How about that?
It always comes back to the same thing.
Well, I really appreciate you this year, and I don't know, we should give a recommendation on using Hamilton in the ELA classroom, or the history classroom, or the theater classroom, or something like that.
I'm trying to think of a good. I would say kind of the themes behind it, like why you shouldn't force yourself to give up everything for this small thing or take everything what you wanted for granted. I think for an ELA, teaching like an underlying theme, I think would be a good thing, because I feel like that's really common in ELA.
Yeah.
And then, history, it's a fun way to learn it.
That's right.
It's easy. It's not like, oh my God, boring data.
But at the same time, you're tricking them with depth. There's a lot of good depth in there that it can be a climb. All right. Well, happy graduation. And happy birthday, America. Happy birthday, America. You survived 250 years. Look at you. Do you think, America, you can go another 250? Do you think? I hope so.
It depends.
I hope so, America. I believe in you. I believe in America. We can do better. America can do better. Happy birthday, America. Second Stage is a Free Zone Radio production, produced here in Sparta, Tennessee. What actually is Free Zone Radio? A group of content creators, teachers, readers, and classroom experts who make shows for our students, for other educators, and for anyone who likes a good read. If you enjoyed what you hear, please be sure to click like on this episode and subscribe to the show to follow for more. If you have ideas for us, send them to freezonradiopodcasts@gmail.com. That's freezonradiopodcasts, plural, @gmail.com. And be sure to listen to our other show, With Honors, and our brother podcast, A Dead Man's Books. All of them available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to great content.
Hey everyone, my name is Drew, and I want to talk to you about my show, A Dead Man's Books. The show was created with the mindset of whenever I pass away, as morbidly as that sounds, that my children would inherit my books, and of all the things that I'm going to pass down to them, I think that that's the one thing that I want them to make sure that they keep and go through on their own time, but I want to be there next to them whenever they read these things. And so I created a podcast so that they could go back and listen to me and my friends and other people as we read through these books and what we had to think about it. But it's grown to so much more. We've got authors we interview. We talk about everyday life. We talk about how literature connects to life. All of those things in one place. And now we want you to come along with us and join us. This is a podcast not just for my kids, but for everyone who loves to read, everyone who loves a good story, everyone who's a parent, everyone who's a teacher, everyone who just enjoys literature. This is a place to come. So come join us every Monday on A Dead Man's Books.